Hi, my name's Barry Corless, Business Development Director for Best Practice at Global Knowledge, and I'm here to talk to you about the long-awaited PRINCE2 2017 upgrade. I'm going to start off talking to you a little bit about the timeline that Prince has gone through. Many moons ago, back in the 1980s, Prompt 2, which was Project Resource Organization Management Planning Techniques, became PRINCE and was adopted as a UK government standard. PRINCE back then actually stood for Projects in the CCTA environment. CCTA was a UK government department at the time, the Central Computing and Telecommunications Agency. In 1996, PRINCE2 was released and there was a competition to rename it, and PRINCE2 then became Projects in Controlled Environments. And through to 2009 then, when there was a further PRINCE2 update, and the name was subtly changed to Projects in a Controlled Environment, singular. That was the last major update to PRINCE2. Of course, what we've seen in the intervening period was the emergence in 2015 from Axelos of PRINCE2 Agile, and that was added to the PRINCE2 portfolio and stable. And now in 2017, what we're seeing is the latest release of PRINCE2. So as it nears what will be its, I think its 30th birthday, then PRINCE2 is getting a new suit of clothing to move things on with. So why update PRINCE2 is the first question, an obvious question. PRINCE2 has always been rooted in real-life experience. It's part of the reason why so many organisations globally now have adopted PRINCE2 as their standard that they're building their project methodologies and their project processes around. What Axelos did was they went to their global community for some feedback during 2016. One of the things that came back there was a 75%, which I think is quite a mandate, of people that agreed that some update was vital. The basics were as relevant as ever, and I think when we look at what the update's going to incorporate, we'll see that. But certainly what more people were looking for was practical guidance on using Prince and how it can be adapted to use in different types of project environments, whether they be big, small, complex, complicated, whatever else they might be. And more solid guidance that can be used and reused. So really the adapting of Prince was a very big theme that needed to be brought out in any update. The first thing I'm going to say about the update, I guess, is that plus ça change, and that there are going to be certain things that aren't going to change. And there are the 7 principles, 7 themes, and 7 processes of Prince remain exactly the same now and forever. So the principles that you know and love: business justification, learning from experience, defined roles, managed by stages, managed by exception, focus on products, and tailor to suit, they will remain exactly the same, joining with themes, quality, plans, risk, change, and the processes right the way from starting up with the project through to closing it down. So the first headline change is there's no change, certainly not in the absolute basics. PRINCE2 wouldn't have been the success it is if those basics were wrong, and the update saw no need to change them. So what has actually changed? Well, the headlines of it: tailoring for PRINCE2 for different organisations and different environments has become very important. I certainly, from my past experience, saw an organisation I used to work for working with Manchester City Council and creating the Manchester method, which was for councils and for public sector environments in the UK, a kind of PRINCE2 light. And that tailoring that was done was very, very effective and proved for the organisation I was working for at the time to be a really good seller. So the tailoring of PRINCE2 for different organisations and different environments is certainly dealt with a whole lot more in the new guidance. The links between themes and principles is being dealt with more in the environment. I'll just demonstrate that by flipping back there to themes and principles. If you look at business justification and business case, there's an obvious link between the two. If you look at managing by stages, managing by exception, then risk and plans and quality will definitely come into that. Focus on products and quality have got big links to them. Managing by stages and progress have got big links. So if you can see that there are massive overlaps between the principles and themes, and the idea was that what we would do with the update was capture some of those. Finally, restructuring the themes guidance to allow there to be specific examples within it. So they're the three kind of headline changes that PRINCE2 2017 is going to incorporate. So I guess one of the questions we could ask is tailoring such a big deal? Well, yes, absolutely, and it is a big deal in the 2017 update, because tailoring gives us the flexibility that PRINCE2 needs, and tailoring is a common theme now all the way through the PRINCE2 guidance. It's kind of like that stick of rock that you get at the seaside. If you cut it through the middle, then tailoring is going to be running right the way through the PRINCE guidance now. And more now in the actual PRINCE2 guidance is going to be advice and guidance on linking PRINCE2 with the agile and more agile environments and agile methodologies and ways of working. There's also a big change that at each stage of the PRINCE2 project, there's almost a minimal viable product, if you will, of what you need for PRINCE2 in each stage of a project. So the absolute baseline minimum that you can survive on. So I think from a tailoring perspective, there's a hell of a lot more in there, and you could see a hell of a lot more in there already. So does that mean that PRINCE3 is on its way down the line? Well, I think when Axelos were doing this, then the people heading up the project management area of the business, the first thing they did was scream and shout no from the top of their buildings in central London, that PRINCE3 wasn't the ultimate and the next stage for this. Mainly because the fundamentals aren't changing, the 7 themes, 7 processes and so on. They're not going to change, so there was no reason to turn around and say, look, this is PRINCE3. It's PRINCE2 2017, and the tailoring is the massive focus of the update. Also, the incorporation of the PRINCE2 Agile guidance to a certain extent was important, and that can be done outside of the core 2 PRINCE guidance as well as inside it, and that follows one of the I think one of the key themes that Axelos has sought to introduce into global best practice, particularly in other areas like ITIL, where it's the incorporation of the core best practice with other methodologies, with other frameworks. That's very, very important, and that doesn't mean that the core of PRINCE or ITIL or whatever else it is has to change. So no, PRINCE3 isn't about to appear. When are you going to see the new books? Well, pre-release drafts are with the course providers to allow course development. Our PRINCE2 lead in the UK has been locked in a darkened room not literally, of course, metaphorically, locked in a darkened room with the new guidance, and is deep into developing our new courseware, so that when the new guidance is available, then the new books can be there, and the courseware can be there alongside it. It's currently on target for an early summer 2017 launch. The final date hasn't been decided on yet, I don't think. TSO are going to remain as the publisher, and of course it will be published in multiple formats to allow ease of access to the new material. It's going to be published in English to start off with, to iron out any of the gremlins in its mother tongue, but I think very quickly following on, and contact Axelos for more details, but very quickly following on, Dutch, which is a big market for Prince, the Netherlands, certainly for us as an organisation as GK. German, French, Polish, Danish, Norwegian and Italian are all languages that are scheduled for 2018 and beyond. So if you look at that, then we're not just limiting the update, and Axelos are not just limiting the update to English. Axelos's timeline of the update, just to show you that this thing has been in the pipeline for some time. Planning for the update started way back in 2015, and the consultation that they did in 2016 was obviously part of the driver. I guess if 75% of people had said actually it doesn't need to change, then we might not be having this conversation now. But that conversation did heavily fall down in favour of some update to PRINCE2 materials. They moved into, in early 2016, then authoring of the guidance for the publication. And as through 2016 into Q3, Q4, the publication went out to many practitioners, course providers, a number of different stakeholders for review. Development of the examinations started in Q4 of 2016, and what's moving forward now, the announcement in January, February of the year. Pre-orders for the book are going to be live during March 2017. I think it's designed to coincide with the Project Challenge exhibition here in London, which is, I think, towards the middle back end of March. Planned launch of the book at the moment, late spring, early summer, May 2017, depends whether you work on meteorological or astronomical springs or summers, where May actually falls, but certainly 2017 is the planned launch for the book, with the launch of the new exams just some time after that, into mid-2017, into June. So that's the timeline as it exists. I don't see that there will be any massive variations from conversations I've had with the great and the good at Axelos in that timeline. Hopefully then, as we go into Q4 and the actual book, the publication, the exams have started to settle down, then translation's going to commence with experts, subject matter experts, translating into the languages we mentioned before, including Dutch, Norwegian, and so on. I mentioned exams there. What about the exams and the internal struggle even of getting stuff from the brain down onto the piece of paper? There will be new exams. I think the first thing to say is there's going to be a crossover period where the old exams will be available up until the 31st of December 2017, and that's the point that the examination institutes switch over as well, from the current 3 or 4 4 or 5 that are out there, over to there just being one exam institute that Axelos will be working with, that being PeopleCert, from the 1st of January 2018. So that crossover period works with your current exam institutes and providers, until the swap over. From the 1st of January 2018, it will just be Prince 2017 examinations. Now, the one thing that obviously allows you to do, if you've just invested in your Prince2 foundation e-learning, for example, then it allows you to complete those training cycles. And obviously the new exams are only going to be in English at first anyway, so the old exams in other languages will continue beyond that 1st of January 2018 deadline. As I say, that does allow you to get the best from your current training cycles and protect any investment that you've made. And in some ways, given that tailoring is the big difference, then it will have a much more significant difference, as we're going to see later in the presentation, a much more significant difference on the practitioner qualification rather than the base foundation qualification, because the 3 7s are still going to be the same. What about the exams? Information we've got so far that foundation will be the least changed. Elements that are no longer part of the core of Prince2, things like configuration management, they're going to be removed from the exam. They'll be replaced by some questions about tailoring. The weighting between the different themes is going to be a little bit more equal than it currently is. As an examiner myself for ITIL rather than Prince, the reduction, and as a student and as a lecturer, the reduction in the number of not questions will be widely applauded. They tend to be some of the most difficult. And there will be 60 questions in the examination rather than 75. Current pass mark of 50% is 35 out of 70, and 5 of the questions on the current exam are there just to trial out new questions. That particular format will be discontinued from the new examination. It'll just be 60 questions, and the pass mark is yet to be confirmed by Axelos. The practitioner testing will be on the whole method. This is where there are going to be more question changes and more substantive changes. Questions about the principles will be more questions about the principles at the expense of some of the product questions. And also some of the testing is going to be around whether certain approaches are fit for purpose, aka tailoring. The number of marks in the exam is going to be 75, going down from the current 80, and again the pass mark on the practitioner is going to be confirmed. I think if there's a headline from the practitioner, it would be that third bullet there, where testing whether approaches are fit for purpose in particular really does talk to that major theme of the update of tailoring. Couple of what-if questions that you might be asking now. If you've got a current Prince 2009 foundation, can you go on and take the 2017 practitioner? Yes, absolutely. That has not changed. The foundation examination doesn't run out, and given that the 777 themes and processes has not changed, then it's not going to be much of a step up for you to go to up to the practitioner. Much of what you know and love from when you took the current foundation will still be there. Also, to remind people that you can still sit the practitioner if you've got PMP, if you've got CAPM, or any of the IPMA levels A to D qualifications as well. You don't have to sit the foundation at those levels. Of course, you need to get up to speed with the language of Prince, but you can jump straight to the practitioner if you've already got that. Indeed, we've seen a number of organisations here at Global Knowledge who've got people on this side of the Atlantic who are Prince trained, people on the other side of the pond who are PMP trained, actually sitting each other's exams. So the Prince guys sitting PMI and the PMP guys sitting Prince, just so that they can talk to each other on a level playing field. So if you've got any of those qualifications, and of course if you're looking to update your PMP, then certainly the PRINCE2 qualification counts as lots of lovely PDU credits for you as well. So if you're currently a registered practitioner for Prince, is this still valid? Well, yes, you are. Anybody sitting the old exam before it's phased out is still going to be a registered Prince practitioner for 5 years. What is going to change, as we're going to see in subsequent slides, is the way that you remain current. So if you're going to sit the exam between now and the end of year, the old PRINCE2 practitioner, you will still be badged as a registered practitioner for 5 years. So if I'm a current practitioner and it runs out after 2017, what options have I got? Well, one of the things that's going to change is that the PRINCE2 re-reg examination, the 1 hour gamble on whether you're going to get a couple of questions, 2 or 3 questions on an area that you've revised, that's going to disappear, the re-registration examination. So if you want to re-register as a practitioner, then you're going to need to sit the full examination, as a lot of people do even now on the PRINCE2 2009 standard. Then they go on and sit the full examination. But your registration as a registered practitioner from the PRINCE2 2017 update is only going to be valid for 3 years rather than 5. Now the reality is that the current guidance is that you do your re-reg within 3 to 5 years. So the only real change is that they've gone to the lower end of that for 3 years rather than 5. And I think as the project management environment through digitalization becomes more fluid, then keeping that registration and keeping your current project management skills up to date has become more vital. So you can see why perhaps that shorter time scale might be a valid one. So every 3 years. Surely you don't want me to sit an exam every 3 years. There are other options. Yes, Axelos's PRINCE2 membership program allows you to build up CPD points, a little bit like the way PMI does it for PMP and CAPM. And there's going to be more detail released on that moving forward. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in this particular presentation. So the need to resit an exam every 3 years is going to disappear. It's still an option, but you can use CPD points linked to this Axelos membership program, PRINCE2 membership program, which we're going to tell you a little bit more about. The obvious question then, what does it look like? It's focused obviously on continual professional development. It's going to be officially launched before the PRINCE2 examinations come out. What it's likely to do is look at other content that will be available within the PRINCE2 membership, white papers, attending of conferences, or where it's going to go in terms of other organisations' qualifications. There are other project methodologies available, is yet to be decided, and hopefully what we're going to do as Global Knowledge is get the Axelos membership people along to do a webinar specifically for you and tell you all about that once they've finalised the details. But potentially it's a very, very exciting development that the professional CPD program running alongside Prince is going to allow you not to have to go and resit that PRINCE2 examination. For the PRINCE2, one or two things we do know about that PRINCE2 membership scheme. It's there at the moment. If you've got to have an active PRINCE2 membership through each year of your cycle, and you've got to complete 45 CPD points within that 3-year period. As I say, the full details of it and what's coming out of that will appear through the early part of spring, I'm guessing. If you satisfy both of those criteria, you're still going to be considered current, and your current PRINCE2 certification will be issued. You will be re-digitally badged as a current PRINCE2 practitioner if you've satisfied both of those criteria through that period. So in some ways it's exactly the same as PMI, and that you remain a member of PMI through that, and obviously that you get then 40 different number of CPD points, PDUs as they're called in that world. But that's the same sort of principle, I think, that we're looking at. So a fairly simple scheme, hopefully, to administer and for you to be part of. Or, of course, you still could take that, go back and take that full exam if you don't fancy joining the scheme and going through. I think, you know, as my friend on there, dude, are you serious? I think I know I'd rather go through the CPD scheme perhaps than go back and go through the 3 hours of purgatory in the examination. But each to their own. So if you're a current practitioner, any exam taken prior to the new guidance is still going to be valid, and that deadline of the 31st is still going to be valid, and you will still be a PRINCE2 registered practitioner for 5 years. What you can do is join the PRINCE2 scheme prior to expiry of your certificate, and then obviously your CPD can start to count. More info, as I say, is coming further down the line for this, and we're going to get Axelos in to talk more to you on one of our webinars a little bit later in the spring. What about PRINCE2 Agile then, and some of the other Axelos products? Well, there's no major impact on PRINCE2 Agile. Where PRINCE2 Agile as it stands now references the current 2009 guidance, then over a period of time this is going to be tweaked in the actual core PRINCE2 guidance. It's not seen as a major issue by Axelos. So the PRINCE2, the core PRINCE2 guidance will reference Agile, and the backwards references they'll be caught up on. I would imagine that'll be done as a matter of some priority, just from a straight reference perspective during 2018, without actually setting anybody's expectations, because I don't speak directly for Axelos. Other Axelos products, obviously, they're going to follow their own roadmaps. So anything you've heard about ITIL version 4, yeah, absolutely and totally disregard it. Yeah, it's not happening. It's just not happening. Okay, so the PRINCE2 update is standalone in that respect, other than its links to PRINCE2 Agile. Now, the smart and observant amongst you will have noticed up in the top right-hand corner of each slide, there's been a weird and wonderful multicoloured kaleidoscopic almost shape, and each of those shapes there consists of 7 different sort of sub-shapes that make it up, from the square there in the top left corner, through sort of rockets, people sitting down, somebody kicking a ball, a house, a yacht, a tree, a key, and I'm not actually sure what the one to the left of the key is supposed to be. It might be an Olympic torch, I think. The idea is that what you can do is you can tailor the 7 different elements of Prince into any configuration that you want and works for your organization. So using Prince2 as the building blocks to create what you need for your organization. So a little bit of smart there with the 7 different shapes, and that was done, I think, by the obviously highly paid marketing people and agencies that Axelos use to display the fact that tailoring is a key point from the Prince 2017 update, Prince2 2017 update. Okay, this is me speaking now, and my top tips as it stands. My first one is to remember that your Prince2 practitioner certificate and examination doesn't expire ever. Only your status as a registered practitioner expires after 5 years. So you don't lose the fact that you were a Prince2 practitioner at some point and you passed the exam. But to remain on that list as a registered practitioner, then that does expire currently after 5 years. That's actually something that a lot of people forget when they're talking about Prince2. If you're in that position, then I'd consider your current level of Prince2 knowledge, and maybe go and consider sitting the Prince2 re-reg course. It's going to help greatly if your organisation uses a project methodology that's closely aligned to Prince2, because the Prince2 terminology and so on will be fresh in your mind. And I think the third point I would make here is, if you're going to go and do that, then I would consider using the e-learning that's available from various organisations. Obviously GK have got a fully certified solution to get yourself back up to speed. We actually use that e-learning as well to just give people anybody that's going on to do the practitioner who's currently PMI or any other flavour of project management certified that allows you to go straight to the practitioner. It's a very, very useful asset to allow you to get up to speed on the Prince2 terminology and basics, and that's something that we're redeveloping as a priority for Prince2 2017. Other tips: if you're between 3 and 5 years since passing the Prince2 practitioner, then obviously consider your 1-hour P2R exam or the full Prince2 practitioner before December. Obviously you can call your account manager or go onto our website to look for dates that we've got. The difference: the Prince2 re-reg exam is a 1 hour, the full one is the full exam's 3 hours. Different number of questions obviously in them. The gamble that some people don't like to take with the re-reg exam is that there are only 2 or 3 topics in there, and if you don't hit questions on topics that you feel you're good at, then it really could be a gamble not worth taking. And I see many people would rather go on and pay the little bit extra to do the full Prince2 practitioner, where they can guarantee that the topics that they're good at are actually going to turn up on the exam. That's your choice. Pass either one of them and you become re-registered as a registered Prince2 practitioner. If you're over 5 years and your registration has lapsed, then you can still sit the re-reg exam, or wait for the new guidance and new material and go on and sit the Prince2 2017 and do the upgrade. Of course, the one thing that you have to remember, it will be when you go on and do that the full exam. So if you want to use that route through, the examination route through, then either or is an option. And again, if you've got any questions, by all means contact your global knowledge account managers who will be only too glad to help you, or indeed pass you through to me for some advice and guidance. So, in summary, where do we stand? If you've got no project experience, then we're going to be releasing a PRINCE2 2017 overview, which will be non-examined, of course, which will just get you the base level of knowledge that you need. You can then go on and sit the PRINCE2 2017 foundation course, which you might come into with a little bit of project experience coming in there from the right, some pre-course digital learning, and then sitting the 3-day foundation course. What a lot of people choose to do, particularly, and this is just a market quirk, I guess, in the UK, a lot of people who sit PRINCE2 actually sit foundation and practitioner on the same 5-day event. So the left-hand side there, they go down from the 2017 foundation through to the 2017 practitioner on the same event. Now, in our Dutch market and the Netherlands market, for example, then most people tend to prefer to sit the two separately and do leave a period of time to go and consolidate knowledge, and then do a little bit of pre-course digital learning before going on and sitting the PRINCE2 practitioner. Both of those options are going to be available from June here at Global Knowledge. For anybody that's an existing PRINCE2 practitioner, has got the PRINCE2 2009 Foundation, PMP, is CAPM, or any of the IPMA levels A to D qualifications, then you can do some pre-course learning as well, and you'll still be able to come straight in and sit the PRINCE2 2017 practitioner. So there's a summary of what it's going to look like, as well as the old stuff being available for 6 months. That's what it's going to look like from a global knowledge perspective from the summer of 2017, once the exams are launched. And watch this space for when we're actually going to do that. As I say, we've got our expert deep in locked in the darkened room with our professional course developers and builders from the United States at the moment, who are working away on our PRINCE2 materials. One slide that I thought was very, very important for me to include doesn't directly affect you out there as a practitioner, but this is what Axelos are doing for organisations that are accredited course providers. It may actually be tempting for some people to go out there and use non-accredited providers, grey providers, who in actually providing it are breaking the law. But then what we can say is that this is what Axelos are doing to make sure all of the accredited training providers are ready. They have to have passed the PRINCE2 2017 update practitioner examination, so that whoever teaches you, you absolutely know that they've passed the exam. You would expect no more or no less. What Axelos are doing as well is giving free exams to trainers with one free resit. I would hate to think that any of our trainers sitting the new practitioner would actually fail it and need to avail themselves of the free resit. Are you listening, guys? But it's there if they need it. There will be trainer readiness sessions that will be run by people who've written and produced the exams and the PRINCE2 2017 guidance, so that the accredited trainers are thoroughly up to date with the new guidance and the new focus that should be put into the courses. And those trainer accreditation sessions and readiness sessions are actually starting in March. Lots of sessions in the UK, in Germany, in India, in Australia, and We've got our guys attending those already, and I know for certain that since I put these slides together, then Axelos have been opening up more sessions in more countries because the registrations on them have been full. Lots of documentation that's available, so I think you can be sure that if you go and take your prints from an accredited training organisation, that the people stood front and centre, the quality is going to be there, and they will be absolutely ready. And we can certainly guarantee that from our people here at Global Knowledge. They'll be absolutely ready to teach you. You, as our customers, I think would expect no less. So I thought that was an important slide for us to put in there. Okay, right at the very end now, just moving forward. What you're going to see over the coming weeks and months are more blogs and updates from us here at Global Knowledge, and there'll be some guest blogs from guys at Axelos, plus our lead trainer Nick Birch, an author of our GK courses in the UK. We'll be letting him out of the darkened room, and after a short holiday, I suspect, we'll be getting Nick up to give his impressions of what's going to change from somebody who's been immersed in the new guidance and immersed in being a time-served project manager with the British military, amongst others, to tell you what's a little bit more about the updates. And as I say, we're going to get guests in from Axelos to talk about the membership and CPD schemes, especially because we think that's particularly worth supporting, because we see how well that works for people who adopt other project management, PMI for example, adopt other project management methodologies and want to keep up to pace with that. Okay, that's just about all we've got time for. Any questions that you've got about this presentation, if you want to get in touch with us at Global Knowledge, then please do through our websites, globalknowledge.co.uk, globalknowledge.nl for the Netherlands, and so on and so forth, and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Hope you found the session that we've just done useful, and happy project management.